Hello, it's Mr. Sweater. I'm going to be walking you through the cow eyeball dissection and talking about the slides that you're going to be making, so the pictures you're going to be making, and the different structures that you're going to be labeling. First off, we're going to talk about safety. Anybody who's going to be watching the cow eyeball dissection or participating needs to be wearing safety glasses, all right, to make sure that we don't get any fluid in our eyes. Anybody who's actually going to be using any of the materials or doing the dissection needs to wear vinyl gloves. Now let's talk about the equipment we're going to be using. You need a set of surgical scissors. You need a straight probe, a bent probe, forceps, and a scalpel. Now we have to be very, very careful with the scalpel because the blades are extremely sharp. So we are not going to be playing around with this, and there will be no horsing around tolerated during this lab. Okay, so let's go back to the eyeball here. Now before we do anything, you need to take two pictures. These are going to be your pictures of your exterior structures. So you're going to take one of your anterior, exterior, so right here, the front of the eye, and then you're going to flip it over, and you're going to be taking one of the back of the eye. Okay, and now I'm going to go through and talk about the different structures that you will be posting. Both of those pictures will be on the same slide. Slide 1, exterior structures of the eye. Picture 1A, which will be the anterior structure, you will be labeling two different structures. The first one is the cornea, all right, this cloudy piece right here, and then this white stuff on the outside here, and that is our periorbital fat. Now this periorbital fat, some of yours may have more of that periorbital fat. That's what keeps the eye in the eye socket and stops it from jostling around and getting injured. So those are going to be the first two things that you're labeling from your first picture. Again, your cornea and your periorbital fat. Okay, we're going to go ahead and flip the eyeball over, and what you're going to be doing is looking for the first structure, the optic nerve. Now it may be a little bit of a tube coming out, or you may have to look for the circle. And right there we can see the circle. This is our optic nerve, so this would be coming out of the eye and going into the brain later. Another thing that I want us to pay attention to is this little brown structures over here. Do we see this? This is actually the eye muscles, and what actually has your eye when we move it. These are the eye muscles. Okay, so those are going to be the two structures we're going to be naming from the back. So again, the optic nerve and the eye muscles. And that will be done for the first slide. Now for our second slide, we are going to go ahead and be cutting into the eye, cutting the eye in half. So first thing we're going to do is cut off our fat, our periorbital fat, and any muscle, just to make it easier for us to work with. So we're going to take our surgical scissors, and we're just going to cut around. That fat and muscle off. Okay. Got some connected tissues. I'm just going to go ahead and cut that off. All right. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to be cutting the eye in half. This is very important. You have to be very delicate with this. You're going to go ahead and you're going to take your scalpel, you're going to put it in your hand so that you don't hold it like this, like a pencil, because you hold it like a pencil and you push down, you slip, you cut your hand. So you put it so the handle is in the palm of your hand. You're going to grasp the eye, all right? So the cornea is by your thumb. You're grabbing the back of it like this, okay? And just past the cornea, we are going to start our cut. So just a little bit past here. All right, now just be careful because you're going to be pushing down here. There is fluid in there. We don't want that fluid to squirt us, okay? Make sure your fingers are on either side of the eye, not underneath the eye. Don't want you stabbing yourself, okay? So we're going to go ahead, cut there, and now I'm just going to go ahead and cut around. You see how that fluid is coming in? That's that aqueous humor that's coming out. Keep cutting around. We're actually cutting through our sclerella, which is difficult. So we're never putting our fingers in front of the blade because it's a very sharp blade. We do not want to cut it. And if we do cut it, we immediately are going to talk to Mr. Sweater so we can get some right. So now I can open up my eyeball. Finish my cutting right there. Okay. Now, here we have our front of the eye and our back of the eye. This is actually the lens. We're going to take this, put it back over at the front of the eye. Okay. All right, we're going to start with the back of the eye. Now, in your eye, when you open it up, it may have a kind of a pale coating on the outside here. Ours has actually been knocked off, and it's right here. This would go all the way around all the way around here. That's actually our retina. All right, and that's where our photoreceptors are. So that's what we're going to be labeling this, the retina. Okay. Now notice if I push it with the probe, it's still attached right here. Okay. That is the part where all the axons from our photoreceptors in the retina are going back through the eye, and we call that the optic disc, okay? So this is the retina. This right here where it's going back in the eye is the optic disc. If we actually flip the eyeball over, you can see that, boom, that is the optic nerve, okay? Now, what I want us to focus on is we can see kind of this translucent, or excuse me, not translucent, but we can see this bluish coloring here, okay? That right there is our tapetum. That is T-A-P-E-T-U-M, our tapetum, okay? Only nocturnal or corpuscle animals have that. It helps them see with limited light, okay? So we're gonna label that our tapetum. And then here we can see this black part here. This is our choroid, okay? The choroid, and there's a lot of vasculature in there to feed the eye, and we're gonna be labeling that. So far we've labeled the retina, we've labeled our optic disc, all right? We've labeled our tapetum and our choroid, and the last structure we're gonna be labeling here is this white right here. So if I can go ahead and I can take that off right there, taking our choroid off, you can see this right here, and this is our sclera, okay? And this is what we've cut through, and that goes all the way around the eye. All right, so that is everything for picture 2A, the posterior interior of the eye, or the rear of the eye with the retina in it. Now we're gonna go ahead and look at the front of the eye, or our anterior section. So right here, this is actually our lens, and I'm gonna go ahead and get all this viscous humor, this jelly-like substance off it. There's all the viscous humor. Okay. And there we go. We can see this is the lens right here. And we're going to be taking 2 pictures of the front of the eye. We're just going to go ahead and take some paper towel. Just kind of get this humor out of here so it's easier for us to see. All right, so the first picture we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and put that lens back in. All right, and we'll be taking a picture here. All right. Let's get some of that humor out of there. All right, so we're going to be labeling a couple things here. First, we can see this outside. We have our sclera. All right, and now here we can see this black. All right, here the striated black. That's actually the ciliary bodies. This is what our eyeball uses to change the lens. So the lens here is going to be hard, but when it's in a living animal, it's not hard, it's soft like a contact lens. And so our ciliary body is actually what causes that lens to shift and shift the focus of our light. All right, so that is what we're gonna be labeling for this. We've labeled our lens, our ciliary body, and our sclera, okay? That's one picture, and then we're gonna go ahead and pop out that lens, and we're gonna take another picture, and we're gonna label this. Again, we're going to label the sclera, we're going to label our ciliary bodies, and then if we go a little bit closer, we can see the black here that's not striated. That is actually our iris, okay? And the iris, which is what closes and opens in order to let more or less light into the eyeball. Now, so that is our iris, and this right here, the opening in the iris, is our pupil. And then on the other side of the pupil, we can see that that is our cornea. Okay, so that are all the structures you're going to label. You're going to label your pupil, your cornea, your iris, your ciliary bodies, and your sclera. Okay, those last three pictures, they're all going to go on the same slide. So you're going to have two slides. One is the exterior, one is the interior. For that first slide, you're going to have two pictures, the anterior and the posterior. For the second slide, you're going to have three pictures, one of the posterior, two of the anterior, one with the lens in, one with the lens out. Okay, thank you very much. Remember, all the waste products are going to go in a special bag in front. Then we're going to clean our equipment and put them away and make our slides. Thank you. Have a good one.